I wanted to ask you a few questions. You've been very involved in, learning for well-being.
Right.
Can you tell us more about that, please?
Well, it's learning for well-being is basically a conceptual framework or a particular approach or agenda for reforming education systems towards reorienting their purpose to cater for the whole child. So we're not talking about education as an investment whose outcome can be measured with metrics related to competencies and skills and performance on standardized exams, but our proposition is to widen the lens and to expand the metric so we see the outcome of learning in how it influences the whole child, because the child goes to school as body, mind, soul, and spirit and heart. And the whole child interacts with the learning environment. And the environment can be either enabling, nurturing, cultivating, or it may be stifling to one or more aspects of the child's personality. So basically our approach is a whole child, whole learning environment approach. So the whole child is at the center of the whole learning environment in all its aspects.
Okay, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. Can you also tell us more about your involvement in Ilham Palestine?
Yes, I mean, if you allow me a bit more, a child goes to school and lives in the school for 7 hours a day for 12 formative years of his life. Just imagine. That kid is consuming a service we offer to him or her for so long in the most critical times of his growing. Okay? Now, it's important that we know that, and we know what we do and how we do it. It actually influences the child's development, value systems, his view of life, of self, of the other, self-esteem, engagement, hope. So we need to see more than, so for example, let me give you a small example about what this perspective means. We know, for example, that the quality of human relationships between children and teachers are probably one of the most significant factors in their ability to learn and grow. So when we talk about reforming education, we need to factor helping teachers understand this and try to really cultivate a healthy, mutually respectful, empathetic relationship with their students. Talking about engagement, everybody talks about engaging youngsters and young people and young voices. But the truth is that we really have no chance, if we're smart, not to engage. Because engaging young people, think of it like this. A kid in a school is what? He is a young citizen in a small society. And as such, when he lives in the school, he experiences relationships, navigation, negotiations, mistakes, caucusing, and experimental this and that. So it's important that we cultivate his civic values and citizenship in a protected environment. So when he grows further as a citizen, his sense of citizenship then is matured through real life experience. You cannot oppress and suppress and marginalize the student for so long, and suddenly when he is 20 or 18, he becomes a citizen. That doesn't work. Schools should be seen as incubators for citizenship rather than factories for compliance, right?
No.
So now about Ilham Palestine. Well, Ilham Palestine, as the name would suggest, the title would suggest, is an initiative to basically make the schools of Palestinian children a better place for them. Now, you know the very particular circumstances. So Ilham undertakes to transform Palestinian schools to be a better place for Palestinian children. And the fundamental aspect of Ilham is that it's a holistic approach. So we talk about enhancing or improving the whole school environment in public psychosocial health, environment, relation to community, teaching learning methods, school climate and school governance and ambience, relationships, and so forth. So we have defined a number of domains that cover, as I said earlier, the whole school environment. And then we say, how can we improve various aspects of the environment to be more conducive to the well-being of children? So the approach is that the environment will be transformed to be more conducive, more enabling for well-being, more nurturing, and not stifling and impeding and suppressing and whatever. Now, what we do is not a top-down approach where we say, this is the way you do it. No? What we say basically is that we know already that in Palestine, in various villages, camps, localities, teachers, principals, students, and parents are doing incredible work, lots of grassroots innovations in response to real-life challenges that actually made a difference in the life of our students or their school environment. So what we do in Ilham is we go around the country annually in a major solicitation, call for nomination, and we invite teachers and all other stakeholders to apply and to share their innovations for the past year or 2 years, be it in this domain or that domain, whatever will prove to have helped the well-being of our students. Now, the trick here is that we do not do it just like that. We have signed a partnership with the whole system, with UNRWA and with the Ministry of Education, right? So that the whole system will be involved in promoting our message, magnifying the message, so every teacher and every principal receives it. And there is, to be honest, a particular value for having the system endorse, legitimize, support, encourage that, rather than we doing it separate. And that's why we talk about it as a partnership for systemic change. And the partnership we have signed with the Ministry of Education, Health, Social Welfare, Youth, right? And UNRWA, of course. And so the whole system works with us in the Ilham initiative in various ways. And in fact, we have built local Ilham structures in various municipalities and localities in Palestine. So when we do the nomination, we have an aggressive outreach campaign in which we promote the culture of initiative and entrepreneurship. So the first thing is that people have to kind of start assimilating one key value, and that is in Palestine, we really cannot make it without having every Palestinian become an innovator, because living there in itself is an innovation. So we need to cultivate that culture of initiative and self-responsibility. We're all responsible. Okay? So this is an open invitation for initiative and entrepreneurship, and a legitimate one. So you're not doing it outside on the margin. It's actually a desired practice rather than an expectation. Okay? Now, the other thing we do is that we go to all localities, town hall meetings, outreach meetings in various ways, media, local TVs, and we make the call. Part of that is awareness raising, the concept of the school environment and not the teaching, and about the significance of the psychosocial well-being of kids, the significance of engaging youth. So one key particular domain of Ilham is called youth engagement. So we look every year for initiatives by students, teachers, whoever, that have cultivated youth engagement, in which youth have proved that they can, as young citizens, make a difference. Because they can be partners in shaping their learning environment and not just be passive recipients, all right? So we do that, and once we have the solicitation, oftentimes we have about 800 initiatives, elaborate initiatives, which people share from villages and camps and whatever. And then we undertake a thorough evaluation. And the key point here is that we have two panels. A panel of experts, deans of education, deans of public health, director generals of the ministry, and so forth. And we have an Ilham youth panel. So kids in the schools actually together are able to define criteria for what they believe has made a difference in their lives. They know better. Okay? So we say, you know, later youngsters, you know, please, this is the database. Look at them. They convene tens of times. They deliberate, they analyze, they define metrics, and then they conduct interviews with shortlisted principals and teachers. So the youth panel would be sitting there interviewing headmasters and, you know, counselors and teachers. But because why? Because we trust their eye. It is their lens is what matters, really. They know. And then we have the experts do that according to a very, you know, kind of elaborate scientific whatever. And then we convene the two panels in a dialogue. So the grand finale of Ilham evaluation will be a joint lengthy session between experts, leaders in the country in the particular domains, and the Ilham Youth Panel. And one of the most enlightening experiences of my whole life is listening to the debate. Those kids are debating with deans of colleges, and they're doing a marvelous job. Incredible inspiration. Because they do it with the heart. So honest, so clear, so transparent, and so down, I mean, they go to the core issue. They're not taken by academic jargon and academic, you know, kind of thing. And it's just a beautiful experience seeing that. And at the end, we announce the national inspiring initiatives, and then we have district level or regional inspiring initiatives, which is like rank 2 in a way. We hold a major national ceremony with all, you know, kind of business, government, and civil society leaders, plus a whole cohort of youth and youngsters. We give them awards, and we do documentary snapshots about their experiences. We publish an Ilham Harvest, which is the annual harvest of innovation across the country in Palestine by grassroots, important. And then, that's the key, we go to the integration commission in the ministry, and we say, all right, these are the innovations, this is the crop of innovation this year from the whole country. What can we take to scale? All right? So if you have one initiative in Jenin or Bethlehem region, and we say, you know what, this is doable in 100 other schools or 200, the system has the legitimacy and the resources and the power to say, you know, I'm going to actually take it to one school in each district or 5 schools, and I will apply, I will request UNESCO, UNICEF, UNDP, or government support to do so. So this is basically one aspect of the Ilham cycle. An equally important issue is mainstreaming within the system, in the sense that we have actually established an organic relation with the system, so that the various directorates of the ministry, director generals, are engaged, and they try to kind of adapt the Ilham approach to their particular, be it in counseling, teacher training, administration, ICT, extracurricular. These are separate divisions. All of them are kind of working in some aspect of Ilham. So it's a whole kind of, it's an integrated approach that is doing, I think, a great job. The beauty of this all is the context. Where is this all happening? In Palestine. Okay? Now, that is a non-trivial matter, because in Palestine there are no paved roads. It's always driving or walking on rock and thorns and difficulties. You know, I mean, I'm being symbolic, but if you want to light a candle, you need 5,000 volts. It's so difficult to create and to actually make work. So that Ilham navigated across all the challenges in itself is an inspiring story. Two, and more importantly, that the value and the worth of the initiatives from the remote villages in Jenin should not be seen in abstract. They should always be seen in the context of the scarcity that they live within and the challenges and the difficulties they experience. That is where the inspiration is. Against all odds and with minimal resources, they were able to make a difference because it was their heart, their passion that made a difference.
On that note, if you could send a message to Palestinian students in general, of all ages, not just in Palestine, but across, you know, the third generation refugees like myself, what kind of message that you would tell them?
Well, if Palestinian youngsters are abroad, I would say two messages. First, that we're okay. Despite all, the country lives on, and we still kind of, we still retain hope and resilience and energy and passion and commitment to creating life and to living on, because Palestine deserves that kind of thing. So it's a message of hope. And the second message is that we're together, we're one people. It doesn't matter what has become of us. Some of us are in Madagascar, in China, in Brazil, but we should never forget that we're one people, kind of, you know, through geopolitical kind of ordeals, has been all over the world. But we should always find creative ways of linking with our homeland and finding one way or another in looking at it, stretching a hand to it, a heart, an eye, some kind of linkage, because we actually need our brains and hearts and in diaspora, and we cannot do without them. And now with ICTs and the modern technology and all that, it should be a feasible and doable kind of, you know, undertaking. So it's a call for virtual homecoming. I'm not saying pack and leave to Palestine tomorrow, but I say now we can actually connect our diaspora together with their homeland, with the heart at home, and create more social capital, more resources, more knowledge capital, and so that we are more able to sustain the pressures of life, and as you very well know. And for people at home, the youngsters at home, we just say one message, and that is that oftentimes suffering and scarcity and difficulties, for whatever reason, I don't know what philosopher said something about that, but I recall that actually sometimes brings the best in you. It actually kind of shapes and polishes and deepens your humanity and makes you connect to your human core a bit earlier than you think or than you need to, because those kids have seen so much and they went through so much. So the fundamental issues about life, meaning, purpose, and humanity have been in their face from early on. I think this is not a bad thing. It's something that will actually deepen their and kind of enrich their personality, and that they actually can make a difference. They should and can take matters in their hands and not wait for the world to do it for them, because the world will not do it for them.
Wow. I know you're busy. If it was up to me, I'd keep you here all day. Thank you so much.